The 7-day Brackeys Game Jam came and went, and with it almost 1,000 submissions, all centered around the theme of diving deeper. How would a fresh, new and inexperienced studio of 16 developers manage the competition? Well, by making a game about gambling addiction, of course. The plan was to make a game about a man falling deeper and deeper into his gambling addiction. The game is laid out like a computer OS with multiple different programs acting like casino-themed minigames to gamble your money away. One playthrough lasts a couple of in-game weeks, after which the player will receive one of 3 endings. One where you lose all your money, one where you become filthy rich, and a special one for players who try to cheat. That's right, there's a secret, unique way to cheat in every minigame. Ambitious? Yes. Doable? Absolutely. We had a bit of a slow start. Unlike most teams, we couldn't begin working on the game until the second day because that's when we were all gonna meet up in person. But with our team's excitement and a clear game ID, we were ready to make the most of the time we had. Day 1 was all about getting the groundworks in place. We landed on having 5 different minigames, those being 3-card poker, roulette, blackjack, slots, and craps. Progress was moving along smoothly as we had an OS system up and running with a desktop featuring icons and programs that you could interact with. We even had a primitive taskbar on the way. 3 of our programs were already entering development, those being slots, roulette, and 3-card poker. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until day 2. Nothing really happened on day 2. The taskbar was finished and so was the slot machine. Kind of. Every minigame has a unique and intentional way to cheat, including the slot machine minigame. We didn't forget about it, where if the player moves the minigame window around, it freezes, and if the player does it right, it stops at the exact time they want, ensuring a jackpot. However, every time the player cheats, the game keeps track of it. And at the end of the game, if the player cheated a certain amount of times, they would get a different ending. Progress on the graphics was also getting started at this point, with blackjack table, chips, and even a splash screen getting started. We were going for a Windows 97 kind of style with a bit of a modern twist, accompanied by a lively and fun theme with a bit of a casino pizzazz, as you can see from the background in the game. Most of the game was finished by day 3. We had money, a couple of bare-bone minigames, as well as a fake OS. So most of the 3rd day went towards bug fixing and polishing. Plus, fixing the apparently very broken slot machine. Things like menus and systems were also implemented at this time, and most of the art was underway. The roulette minigame was also finished around this time, with it functioning exactly as one would expect. You can bet on what number or color the ball will land on, and then you will receive double your money. You can cheat in this game by right-clicking and inspecting elements, which will then show you what number the ball will land on, making sure you win 100% of the time. On the 4th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me a game loop and 3-card poker. 3-card poker is a pretty simple game, where the player can either make an anti-bet or a fold. If the player makes the anti-bet and has better cards than the opponent, the player wins. You can also cheat in this game by hovering over the opponent's hand, revealing which cards they own, and you can make a more informed decision of whether you should continue or fold. As for the game loop, a countdown timer of 2 minutes was added, so you can play your minigames within those 2 minutes and you can earn money. However, when the 2 minutes end, you have to stop and move on to the next day. After a few weeks of doing this, you will receive an ending, depending on how you played. Besides this, there was also some bug fixing and polishing going on, such as fixing the once again broken slot machine. Day 5 started off with a bang, as the main theme for the game got finished and the membership feature was implemented. Every week you will get the option to upgrade your membership subscription to the next tier, giving you better computers for elevated gambling, as well as a new house, because we all know how truly kind casinos are. You will also unlock new minigames, keeping the gameplay fresh throughout the playthrough, and giving the player the option to potentially earn more money if they are willing to multitask and play multiple games at once. Other than this, nothing much happened, really, other than that the slot machine broke again, but expected. You fucking... Time was running short, with only 2 days remaining until the deadline. All of our features were already implemented, so the only thing remaining was polishing and bug fixing. Things like implementing the money system into the various different minigames, fixing the freshly broken slot machine, and importing sprites and other graphical assets took priority. It was around this time that the cutscenes for both the ending and the opening were also finished. However, with the deadline coming in close, many of us developers had to sacrifice what we hold most dear: sleep. Many of us decided to take an all-nighter to ensure the release of the game. The 7th day was like the 6th. Filled with stress, a settings menu, win and lose effect, and even fixing the goddamn fucking slot machine. All focus was on finishing the game on time. Every minigame was playable and working relatively well, par for one exception: the craps minigame. It had yet to be finished. And with mere hours to spare, we had to make an unfortunate decision. We had to cut the craps minigame. But what would take its place? Well, a seemingly identical version of the totally working slots minigame. After a dreadful 7 days of hard work, the game was finally finished. The jam may be finished, but we are certainly not. Shortly after the game released, the reviews started falling in. The game's reception was overall alright, but there was one glaring issue. None of them mentioned the cheating mechanic. We wanted players to discover cheating themselves, and so we never made it obvious that the mechanic existed at all, leading many players to not even realize it was a thing. We added a bunch of small changes post-launch, like fixing the slot machine and adding a small hint towards the cheating mechanic, with it to truly make the game the best version of itself it could be. All of us who worked on the game are happy with how it turned out. And sure, we might not have placed as highly as we had hoped, but we got a lot of feedback and we learned quite a bit. The game and all of our socials are linked in the description, so if you feel like it, check it out. We have a lot of stuff planned for the future, so make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see that, because we ain't monkeying around. What's up, baby?